Sound.
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 Sound. Sound.
Sound.
Found in sound.
What happens when you step into the woods? What do you hear and how do you feel? Maybe you hear the songs of birds or the soft croak of a tree frog, or maybe even something unexpected. As humans, we often feel disconnected from nature, but we are still of the land and part of the natural world, regardless of how digitized our lives become. How important are our connections with nature to our well-being, and what role does sound play in strengthening those bonds?
My name is Hayley, and I have been born and raised on Coast Salish territories. On the land my entire life. I grew up camping and fishing, but my initiation into a deeper sense of nature connection came about when I had my daughter in 2015. I started to realize the way that my very young baby, newborn, would respond to things like the leaves rustling in the wind, bird songs in the morning. She was a spring baby, so it was a beautiful time to experience all of this. The sound of running water, things like that. That was really my initiation point to guiding children in nature, which is what I do now. And I studied child development through the North American Montessori Center, and then I went on to pursue forest therapy training through the Global Institute of Forest Therapy. So I really deepened my connection through that practice and intensive immersion to the practice itself. I had the birth of my son 3 years later and opened my own forest school after working for a couple of years in the field in 2021, and that is called The Sanctuary. We've gone through a couple of location changes, and the connection to the land just remains strong and guiding me through my senses. And what I have noticed is mostly how the children respond to the environment. It's hard to believe I've been in this work for 6 years. I'm going into my 6th year of nature-based education, wild school, forest school. There's many different terminologies to describe it, but in my work, I feel very aligned to my purpose and my passion and what I'm meant to be doing in this life. I view myself kind of as a tree. My roots are like my belief systems, and the trunk is like my body, and the limbs are all the different parts of me. Wild school and forest school is one limb, and forest therapy is another, and wild medicines and healing is another, and there are many different limbs to my tree of self. But I am also developing an initiative to take classrooms beyond 4 walls and have outdoor classrooms available to all, because I have seen the importance of this work with a very diverse scope of individuals of different ages, ranging from about 3 years old to 12 years old, and even babies and toddlers through our parent participation programs. So it's really interesting to see how young child, a baby, responds to the sounds of nature and the sensory experience of the environment versus maybe a 7 or 8-year-old that has previously been exposed to a much more contained human-made environment. So I think it's in our true nature to be really attuned to our senses. We see the babies respond to the bird song, and we see the babies noticing the environment around them. And really, as we all know, those of us that work with children or have children, we see that wonder and that awe in their eyes and how beautiful that is. It's almost that it is when we interfere with that that we start to lose that connection and view ourselves separate from nature, like it's something we go to visit. We forget that it is us that is nature, and our true nature remains there. It's a matter of kind of taking away those walls to reopen those connections and those neural pathways. And through the sounds of nature, through the bird songs and through the sounds of the river, are actually affecting our brainwaves. And there's so much science behind it, which I gratefully learned about in my therapy training. However, what I practice is beyond the science of it and more into the magic of it. So very feeling-based, very intuitive-based. And for that reason, I'm also creating a book called The Intuitive Language of the Earth, where I will be translating different elements and animals and plants, the messages that I feel move through me when I tune into those things, and applying that to paper. So kind of giving a language to what goes otherwise unheard by many of us. But again, very grateful to be experiencing life in this time where the awareness is shifting, and more people are feeling that connection to nature, to the land and to the elements, and realizing how important it is. In my experience, I've noticed children be specifically drawn to the water. The sounds of the water can be quite regulating and cleansing, and almost hypnotic in a sense, where I've had large groups of children with multiple educators approach a body of moving water, such as like a stream, or a creek, a river, like we have here. And all of them will be oddly quiet, connected, and just so content with the environment that they're in. I think there's also a level of trust that we're giving them by having them close to water. Something that could be expanded on in regards to child development is that level of trust. But when you approach the water with a group of children, they more times than not will settle in and sit and observe and listen. And it's surprising how quiet they are for a group of kids. With some of our older students, we've started sharing dreams and having dream circles there, and giving them as an offering to the river, as something to cleanse, something to let go of. So with some of our younger students, we will sing whatever the river offers us through song, and that might be a song that we already know or something new that's coming through. But I think listening to the sound of the river is beyond so much more than our auditory experience. When we think of sound, we think of our ears and how we hear things. But I think when you're really, truly, deeply listening, it is a sensory experience. And the way that we can listen and translate what nature is offering to us, and the river in this case, is through all of our senses, and through how we feel, and through what we taste, or the wind on our skin that's coming off of the water, and knowing that that exchange is happening far beyond our individual experience sitting next to the river. We are having a collective experience with everyone that's existing in our field, and we are making this exchange. With some of our older students, again, we talk about negative ion exchange and do get into the science behind it. Ultimately, I think the water is where we feel naturally most drawn to. I mean, we come from the water of life, and I think that's where I noticed the most significant response from the children. Well, I think that something that's really important to emphasize is that you don't have to be in this beautiful, magical forest to experience the healing powers of nature. You could be working with a potted plant on your deck if you live in a condo or an apartment building. And it's really important for me to emphasize this, because this medicine and this magic, it's available to all of us at any time, and the earth will always hold us, and we can always come back to her no matter what we do and where we're at in our life. And we don't need to be all done up and looking nice to be received. We can show up in our darkest of days, and she will always hold us. And if we can just really slow down and listen, which is so much easier said than done, and it really truly is a practice. I've been doing this for 6 years now, and catering my life to this way of living in a very connected and sensory way, passing that down to the generations to come. And I guess this is my life's work, because this is a double mission. If we can educate and hold children in this environment to care for the earth, we're also helping to save the planet, as kind of cheesy as that sounds. But raising future generations to care for and understand and see that she is our greatest teacher. They'll want to protect her too. Just as she holds us, we'll hold her, and call the balance back in that we all so desire.
Something that keeps me connected to the natural world is birdsong. I've always loved birds. As a singer, it makes sense that I really resonate with their melodies. During the height of the COVID pandemic, a spotted towhee started hanging out in my garden. She would figure out where I was in the house and mew at the closest window until I brought her out some seeds. Over the years, she'd bring along her mates who would find the tallest perch in the yard from which to perform their territory songs, telling other male birds in the area that this yard was theirs. She raised young in the yard who, now that she's gone, now wait and mew in the pear tree for seeds just as she did. But she left such an impression on me. I even have a tattoo of her on my arm. Am I the only one that gets this hypnotized by birdsong? Let's stop by the Backyard Wild Bird and Nature Store to see if anyone else feels this way.
Well, here at the Backyard Wild Bird Nature Store, yeah, we've been in business for almost 30 years. We do everything for feeding the birds in the backyard, attracting birds to your backyard, how to do things properly with less mess, attracting so we don't have all our four-legged friends. But we, all the different types of feeders. We manufacture our own cedar products as well, bird feeders, nest boxes. We also have gifty stuff and binoculars and that. Our main focus is bird feeding in the backyard. We'll also do things such as beneficial insects like ladybugs and nematodes. So we keep those around for the spring and the fall. But yeah, it's just, it's been a fun time. We have a great customers. Everybody always comes in with a good story, what's happening, what's going on. It's wonderful when people hear bird sounds the first time. The fun of it is actually identifying the first one you hear. The first time somebody goes, I actually know what that is. It's a challenge is what it is. You have all these beautiful bird calls in the morning, especially in the spring and summer when you get the morning chorus going on. And you hear them and you want to know what they are, but you don't always. But then you start to figure out, you pick one at a time and people will do it, and it's just wonderful when they get the first call, when they're excited. It's that first thing, you've learned something new, and then you can go wander around and you hear it again, you're able to identify it. And it's a great thing to be able to do. Identifying birds by sound is a skill. And people slowly learn that. The more you go out, the more you learn it. It's a great thing, and it's a wonderful thing when identifying birds. But it's the excitement of when people can hear things, especially, like I say, for the first time. It's wonderful. Oh, the things you can do to encourage birds to your backyard is just keep it simple. Trees, shrubs, anywhere they can perch is a great way of bringing birds in. If you want to hear birds sing in the springtime, they're always looking for a high point. The males will sit at a high point when they sing to expand their volume. So any trees, and if you don't have trees or anything, even a twig, if you can find twigs or something. I've seen it work from patios where people have had a branch that just sticks off the patio, off the edge of their patio, strapped it to the railing, and the birds will sit at the end of those branches and they'll sing, they'll perch there, they'll be in and out. It just gives them a spot. They're always looking for places to perch. So anything in a high spot. My apple tree, sometimes I will not cut back the water spouts at the very top. And that's where the birds will all sit at the top. You can even, if you can get up there, take the leaves off those tall branches on those water spouts, because then you can see the birds instead of them hiding amongst the leaves when they sing. Birds make various calls. The main reason birds vocalize or sing is to attract a mate in the springtime and set territorial boundaries. So that's that beautiful song we hear, but they also make different calls, one-note ones for alarm calls. If you hear a robin doing a lot of single one-note calls in a row, that's usually an alarm of a predator of some sort in the area. And birds in the wintertime don't sing. They make calls, little 1, 2, 3-note calls, just letting each other know. You'll hear that when they're flying in their flocks, so that everybody's keeping organized and control of where they're going, what's going on. And that's what they do for their calls in. And some birds do communication without singing, without vocalization. They use feathers. The ruffed grouse will pump their feathers to make the sound to attract a mate. Woodpeckers drum. Whenever you've heard or seen a woodpecker on a telephone pole drumming on that metal transformer, that's another way that they communicate. They use it again to establish territories and attract a mate. They use anything that will resonate a sound, so even your chimney stacks, your aluminum chimney stacks, you might see them up there banging away on those as well. And they'll do it in the spring and in the fall, because there'll be a time right now that the birds will even sing in the fall at times, because there's a time when the light is the same in the fall as it is in the spring, our daylight time. So it confuses some of the birds that they'll start to think it's spring, and they'll start to sing away for a while, and then all of a sudden a week or two later it's all gone quiet again. And the other thing that happens in the fall is you'll get some of the juvenile birds practicing their songs. So it's not a complete song. It's not quite all there, but they're working on it. One way you can remember some bird songs is by associating with something. So golden crowned sparrows this time of year we'll hear are 3 notes, and we remember it as, oh dear me. That's another one of the ways. Chickadee, we don't get the black-capped chickadees on the island, but the black-capped chickadee is the chickadee-dee-dee. Killdeer also call their name when they hear kadir, kadir for killdeer. Other ways you can remember birds' names.
Who cooks for you?
Who cooks for you? The barred owl. A lot of them right now calling.
Yeah. And my favorite is to follow the alarm calls of the robins.
That's how you find owls, is by the alarm calls. You don't find owls by wandering around looking for them. You find them by other birds have told you where they are.
One type of bird who is very good at alerting everyone to anything awry in the neighborhood is the crow. They send out alarm calls letting you know when there are predators lurking about, whether that's raccoons, cats, or just people they don't like.
Every week we do a bird walk out of Nanaimo on Sundays and out of Parksville on Tuesdays. It's just a simple, easy walk, go for 2 to 3 hours. We start at 9 in the morning, and the idea is to be done by noon and home for lunch. Easy going, anybody can come out, whether you're beginner or expert. We have quite a variety of people who come out regularly, so there's always somebody. And like with the birds, the more eyes, the more we can find. It's fun because bird stories are always different. Everything's different. It's not the same old thing. It's a different way. And again, it's the excitement of the people when they've had this. It's like when they've heard their first bird and they come in, hey, I identify this, but they see something for the first time. So it may be common to others, but for them, it was great.
I enjoy bird gossip more than I do people gossip, right?
Birders may notice that certain years bring specific conditions where one species of bird may be more prevalent in a season than normal. One type of bird who is known for these eruptions is pine siskins. Pine siskins are also known to carry salmonella, and more frequent cleaning or taking down of bird feeders is recommended when there are many in one area.
Pine siskins do a cycle about every 2 years. Some years we get it where they just take over like they did about 3 years ago. That tells us that the boreal forest was low in natural seed or a complete failure of natural seed. So the siskins are part of the finch family, which are eruptive species. They go to wherever natural seed is best. So that year that we had a bumper crop of natural seed on the Pacific Northwest, and all the siskins showed up. They get salmonella.
Yes.
So
Yes.
one of the things we always recommend is don't put so much seed out at a time, because you don't want to overdo it. You don't want it getting moldy. You don't want. But the other thing is we need to clean them very regularly with siskins around. Well, with the changing seasons, we always say cleaning the feeders are a good time. Give them a good thorough one. But bird feeders should be cleaned weekly or monthly at least. We clean ours with a 1-part bleach, 9-part water solution. You can use industrial white vinegar in the same mixture as well if you don't want to use bleach. Take your feeders, clean them right out, get rid of all the old seed, whatnot. Spray them down really well. Give them a quick scrub. Rinse them, let them dry overnight, and you can put them back out in the morning. Do that even with the wood ones, your bird baths, any of the tube style feeders. If your feeder's been in one area, you got a lot of mess on the ground, rake that up, clean it out, throw it out. And if possible, move your feeders, your stands that your feeders are on around about every 2 or 3 feet once a month. That way the ground gets nice and clean underneath for the birds. It's not that congestion or that a whole bunch of seed or droppings that are in that one area congested.
The connections we feel with the earth are amplified by the sounds of nature. But what about the natural world? How are animals and plants influenced by human activity? Besides some non-human creatures showing an affinity to music, most of the effects we impose on nature through sound are negative. Short-term bursts of noise, like fireworks, can scare and confuse wildlife. Long-term chronic noise and frequencies like traffic or construction sounds can halt communication between species, cause ongoing stress, and permanent behavioral changes, and otherwise alter the entire lives of other living beings.
sorry. That last note just got a little funky.
But how about man-made music's effect on animals? We were lucky to stop by Superior Farms in Lanceville, BC, just north of Nanaimo, where I've had the chance to play music to some of their furry residents before during their summer music series. This time, I brought help and an array of instruments to see what, if anything, the barnyard buddies might be moved by.
Mommy, can you hear me? I just need to tell you something. These cows are really cute.
Do you want to try a different instrument?
Yeah? Kalimba! Kalimba! Kalimba!
I think they're more interested in the stool.
So we move the stool, and one cow went right for the camera.
Okay, tick, tick, tick. Oh my God. Oh dear.
The goats showed initial
more worried about
interest,
the-
but on first strum
goats.
were quite afraid of the guitar.
Oh! They're not into the guitar. Or they're more into food, I think. The willow fell on the well one night while I lay sleeping.
And just when I thought I won them over, it was back to lunch.
No storm or wind.
I finally found a couple harmonica fans in the pig pen. Then it was on to the sheep.
Hi. I'm gonna try to play you a song. Let's find out if you like it, okay? Ready? Maybe harmonica wasn't the best choice for. Still looking. You want to see? It's the harmonica. Thanks, guys. They're so cute. Thanks, guys. You cuties.
We will continue to explore the effect that human-generated noise has on natural beings further in the series. And maybe we can discover how to turn down the volume so we can listen all the better.